I mean, listen, they're going to have to dig into that. The defense did not look great, like you said. Jayden Daniels has been very smooth, by far the best rookie so far. He's comfortable in the offense. It's an offense he ran in college. He's throwing the ball on the money. He doesn't seem to be making any dicey decisions, makes a few plays with his legs and does that. That's the positive things for Jayden Daniels. Not a lot of negatives. And early on in the game, the Giants couldn't get off the field on third down because of stuff like this. Maybe it was a good throw, or he'd make an incredible run and make a play there that way. But the throwing, as you see, is really good. The playmaking and scrambling and throws off of that is really good. They got something there in Washington with Jayden Daniels, definitely, and got the run game going, too. But you said it, Graham Ganomis and Field. Let's not forget, it was 12-9. The Giants were driving. Devin Singletary broke a run and fumbled in a big moment of the game, too. Washington recovered and I believe went down and kicked a field goal to tie it up.
This is the prime example, though, of why what happened with Gano can get people fired.
Yeah.
Gano went on the injury report on Saturday.
It was Saturday.
Saturday.
Okay. Yep.
The Giants could have elevated Jude McAtamney from the practice squad. They have a guy on the practice squad. They could have elevated him. They didn't. They have 52 guys on the roster because they put Gunnar Olszewski on injured reserve. So they could have elevated the kicker and been ready to go. Now they would have had to activate the kicker.
Yeah.
But you can, there are ways to
kind of
make that happen. And
why wouldn't they?
After the game, Brian Daboll said we thought Graham Gano would be good to go. Well, shame on you.
Okay. Well, so this whole segment has been so much more focused around the New York Giants rather than the actual Washington Commanders. And I've said this before on my Commanders videos. Like, I struggle to find Commanders clips on, First Things First, The Herd, NFL Live, Get Up, all that. Like, it's so unbelievable. They rather talk about why Caleb Williams keeps failing rather than look how good Jayden Daniels looks. And it's frustrating. I mean, it is frustrating. Kind of like, they just talked about that. Jayden Daniels looks like the best rookie quarterback right now. And he does. He absolutely does. And it's not like the Commanders are giving him this like stacked easy team, right? I always thought Jayden Daniels was going to have some success with Cliff Kingsbury. You can't celebrate too much beating a team like the Giants, as Commanders fans know very well. The Giants beating the Giants it's fun. It's a divisional game. You definitely want to beat them. You got the rivalry, but you can't be celebrating and popping champagne and having confetti from the sky. I mean, I'm confident that any sane Commanders fan is going to be well aware of that, and you would like to see a bigger win. But I want to kind of go down what I saw in that game because it was a lot of good things. The way how Jayden Daniels escaped the blitz and the pressure a few times was just really awesome. It was really great, really dynamic. He avoided, I think it was like a 10 or plus yard loss. And essentially he did what Caleb couldn't do, what Caleb showed that he couldn't do, at least in week 1. He showed a little bit more of it in week 2. But he essentially did what Caleb couldn't, which I just thought was really impressive. His running is great. It reminds me more of like a Lamar, more of like a Jalen Hurts run than Lamar. And I don't mean the physicality, because Jayden Daniels does take too many hits, and I've been saying this from the beginning before he even took a snap, that I just want to see them be more strategic. We get constant reminders that these quarterbacks taking hit after hit after hit just wears you down, and I really want to see them be smart and more strategic. He needs to get out of bounds. He needs to make his runs more on the outside of the on the edge, as well as just sliding, getting out of bounds. I'd rather you shave off 10 yards from your run and just get down, or, get out of bounds. He was banged up even in this game, and it's just, you're flirting with the devil, and, and it's just not a personal fan of it. But the way he moves, he's a little bit less twitchy, say like Lamar, because Lamar looks so rushed, right? He's more strategic, which is why I compared him to Jalen. Jalen is definitely more like, this is what I see, and this is what I'm going to do. Lamar is like, I'm going to just try to outrun everyone. And he's so lightning quick and athletic that he can many times, but it just seems like Jayden Daniels running is a little bit more cerebral, which I like, which means it can be more strategic. It can be used in a more balanced and safer way. So I'm excited to see that aspect of his game evolve and grow. I just hope he does it before he, gets an injury that forces him to start thinking that way. I just hope Cliff Kingsbury can be smart and get to him. But they get Jayden nice, easy passes to get momentum. They get him easy plays, which I think is so important. It's just when you get him easy plays, you get the ball out of his hands quicker, better things can happen, because he does have a tendency to hold on to the ball because he is always looking for a play. When you have the athleticism of Jayden Daniels, he's going to hold on to the ball, and that is something that I want to see him continue to grow. But you can see that they're aggressive on fourth down calls, which I think is awesome. I think it shows the confidence. They're not babying him. He looks like a leader. He's calling a timeout. This is such an underrated thing, okay? It really, really is. You see so many of these quarterbacks, and I may have said this before, I'm not sure in terms of Jayden Daniels, but you see so many quarterbacks panic. And when the clock is running down, the defense confuses them, and they start clapping, they get they get frazzled, they start to rush, they don't stay composed. Jayden Daniels didn't do that. Jayden Daniels stayed composed, calling a timeout, right? He's being smart. He's showing his intelligence. That goes such a long way. It really does. And you can see some of these other quarterbacks, especially some of these young quarterbacks, not doing that. And maybe they can develop into that, but the fact that Jayden Daniels is already showing that, and I think Sim's kind of pointed this out, it shows that he's comfortable in this offense. He's comfortable making decisions for himself and not constantly relying on everyone else. Because when you are a rookie, you are relying more on, say, your center, on your OC, even your receivers, your running backs. You're just relying on the other players more than you ever would normally until you get more established, more confident in the league. So the fact that he's already showing some of that confidence, and it's not like an unearned confidence or like an inflated confidence where he's trying to do too much. It's just him keeping his composure and staying calm, and I love that. Again, when you're talking about a young quarterback, a young rookie, and just a few games into the season, I'm looking for concrete things to really kind of decipher. It's too hard to know who any of these teams are this early on in the season, so I'm just trying to look for really concrete black and white things, and it's those little things that to me start to build a clearer picture. I like how the other thing that I like though is that Cliff Kingsbury, it seems to me, even though Jayden is taking some hits, he doesn't rely on short yardage for Jayden. He saves that for the running back. Which is unlike Hurts, because the Eagles, if it's a short yardage gain, even if it's not just a tush push, which will probably change now that they have Saquon, they relied on Hurts a lot, and Hurts got a lot of extra hits, and it wore him down. It just did. It wore him down even at the end of their Super Bowl run, and it wore him down in 2023. So the fact that they're not doing that with Jayden, I think bodes very well. But he needs his workhorse. He needs his security blanket. I've talked about this in videos with Caleb as well. Jayden needs his security blanket. Every great young quarterback, and even established quarterbacks, they have their go-to guy. They have their security blanket. They have their guy that they can really consistently rely on, get the ball to. And the Jayden needs that. Right? Again, every quarterback needs that, but especially a rookie. And don't get me wrong, Robinson getting for, over 130 rushing yards is great, right? That is great. And if he can consistently do that, then that becomes his security blanket. But I think you can kind of have two different types of security blankets. One that you can just kind of do these dump off passes to, or one that you can really get, a guaranteed 7-8 yards. It's a gotta have it completion. You gotta get 5, 6, 7 yards, and you just know that you got a guy, Travis Kelce for Patrick Mahomes, Ezekiel Elliott and CeeDee Lamb for Dak Prescott, AJ Brown for Jalen Hurts. It was Zach Ertz for Carson Wentz, and now you got Ertz. So every quarterback has that. Every quarterback has their security blanket. Sometimes it's the rushing, sometimes it's a tight end or a wide receiver. It'll be interesting to see, but I just think that Jayden kind of needs that a little bit. He needs to just have an easy out. I suppose, right? Just needs to have a little bit easier now. But he's been highly efficient, 23 for 29, 0 turnovers, and he ran for over 40 yards. Again, when you're talking about this early on in the season and being a rookie, like I don't want to get lost in the numbers too much, quite frankly, but those are great numbers. He's taking care of the ball. He's not being dumb. He's being strategic. He's being smart. You got Caleb Williams just airing it out, throwing interception after interception after interception. You got Bo Nix throwing interception after interception after interception, and none of these quarterbacks have touchdown passes, but all the other rookies definitely certainly have interceptions. And then you got Jayden Daniels taking care of the ball. That's smart football. That's smart football. And Cliff Kingsbury deserves some credit for that. A lot of credit for that. Jayden, of course, does too, but it's also smart by Cliff Kingsbury, right? Because whatever they're doing with Caleb right now is not so good. Not so good at all. And Bo Nix, again, and both those quarterbacks, I think, look better than some of their box scores show. But the fact of the matter is that Jayden Daniels right now looks good on film and in the box score. And I think that just bodes very well. He's just showing such maturity and patience. And I don't mean just even patience within the game, but just the patience of mentality. He's not trying to be a superstar right now. He's just not. And I think that's amazing. I think that's absolutely amazing because he could be like, I am a superstar. Let me prove that I'm a superstar. Let me prove that I'm better than Caleb. Better prove that I should be the number one pick. And he's not doing that. He's showing patience. Caleb is trying to be a superstar. He's trying. I mean, some of the throws that he made, especially against the Texans, I was just like, I don't know what that is. He thinks it's still college. And I get it. As a rookie, you're going to make those mistakes. But the fact that Jayden hasn't, I think is fascinating to me. He does need to start taking chances. He does need to start making mistakes for sure as well. That is how you grow, unfortunately, and learn is by keep making mistakes. So Jayden Daniels will be making those mistakes sooner rather than later. But the fact that he hasn't, the fact that he just is showing such patience to me is really, really exciting. He's a fun person to root for. And yeah, I thought that was a good win. Yeah, of course, there were some advantages that the Giants aren't a very good team and they're down their kicker and all of that, of course. But right now, I'm just not looking at the Commanders from a frame of reference of like, they got to get wins. They got to get wins. Come on, come on. I'm looking at it more of like, this is a developmental year. Are they showing signs of progress each week? Does Dan Quinn start to get that defense going? Cliff Kingsbury and Jayden Daniels, are they getting that offense going? I'm just looking for progress and growth week to week to week because, it's hard to hit the ground running in the NFL, especially when you have new coaching, new coordinators, new quarterback. Like there's a lot to go on. There's a lot of moving parts, but if you're a Commanders fan, you should feel really good, really optimistic, and at the very least, you're better than the Giants, the lowly Giants. And it looks like they're just not going anywhere in the right direction anytime soon. And the Cowboys got rocked. So, hey, it's going to be fun. It's definitely going to be fun. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Do you think this was a good game for the Washington Commanders, or do you think that it was just bad luck of the Giants? Because that's what it actually says. New York Giants suffer bad luck and lost to Washington Commanders. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.